Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ film festival. We have a spring mini festival next week, and one of the films we're excited about showing is Femme. We have the director, the writer directors of the film we're going to talk to. First of all, let me read a brief description of the film, and then we're going to talk to the writer directors. Jules, a London-based drag artist, is brutally attacked by a man after a performance, leaving Jules withdrawn and traumatized. A short time later, at a gay sauna, Joel sees his attacker, and wants revenge. The film is written and directed by Sam H. Freeman and Ng Choon Ping. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for
Hi,
having us.
I was saying earlier, I saw film over a year ago at Berlin, and we eagerly tried to get it at our festival last fall, but timing wise, it just didn't work. So we weren't able to show it, but luckily we are able to show it now. And I'm so happy our audiences are really going to like this so much. So thanks so much for making this, and thanks so much for talking to me today.
Thank you for having us. And it feels like really good timing actually, because we're about to properly release in America. So you guys are
Exactly. It's great timing. We show this
Yeah.
we show this next week, and then it opens nationwide shortly afterwards. So the timing is really good. So that worked in our favor. So thanks
Yeah.
so much. Well, I wanted to ask you first of all, this is based on a short film you two did in 2021. Can you talk a little bit about the success of that short film?
Yeah, the short actually, so originally the original idea was to make a feature film. We had an idea for something that we felt very passionate about, but neither Ping nor I had ever made film before. And so we pitched this idea for a feature. We wanted to make a kind of queer, we wanted to sort of take the thriller genre and flip it on its head and make it queer because we loved the genre, but as queer kind of storytellers, we felt like we were sort of excluded from it. We didn't see ourselves in it, and so we felt passionately that we kind of wanted to kick the door down. And so we went and spoke to some producers about it, and they loved the idea. Agile Films, who produced both the short and the feature. Um, and they loved it, but said that because we hadn't made film before, it would be impossible to get financed. So they put a bit of money behind us and told us, let's make a short. You can prove that you can direct, and it can also serve as a kind of proof of concept of this bigger film that you want to make. And so we went away and sort of wrote a kind of 18-minute one night kind of one night thriller. And it did really well. We were nominated. We won the British Independent Film Award for Best Short that year, and we were nominated for a BAFTA, and that got a lot of attention on it. And whilst all that was happening, we were busy kind of scribbling away at the feature script, and
Exactly.
the timing kind of it really launched us into being able to make a feature.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations. Pink, can you talk about a little bit about adapting into a feature-length film?
Right. We were very clear with ourselves that a story should be only as long as it is or should be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that the story in the short was finished
Mm-hmm.
with in its 18-minute version. So despite, you know, so fortunately getting so much attention and accolades for the short film, we were quite rigorous with ourselves that we didn't just try to expand on it or to stuff it
Mm-hmm.
out into, you know, a feature-length film. We went back to the drawing board and start from scratch to to write the feature. But what we did take away from the short was this central chemistry and relationship between these two characters. In the short, they were played by Papa Ziedu and Harris Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
We were very interested in this dynamic between these two characters that we then are made into this almost like cat and mouse revenge
Mm-hmm.
story in the feature.
Great. Sam, can you talk to me about the character of Jules, specifically after the attack and how the attack affects him?
Um, when we talked about the attack and in the filming and the sort of creation, Ping and I were, it was really important to us that actually although there is a physical violence that happens in the attack, the sort of brunt of the damage that is done to Jules is psychological and emotional. It's really about the drag being like this idea of drag, this idea of a performance of gender and power and identity is being stripped from him. And that sort of, at the beginning of the film, we see Jules perform as Aphrodite, and Jules is at the height of his powers, and he's confident and he's powerful, and he steps out into the world and he takes no prisoners, and then suddenly all of that is taken from him, and he kind of loses sense of who he is. His confidence is stripped away from him. He's no longer able to perform. And so, of course, what the film is about is that when he sort of steps out into the world one night, and he's in quite a low place, and he re-encounters this attacker, and the attacker, Preston, can't recognize him because he's not in drag, and Preston's never met Jules in drag. He sees this opportunity to almost put on a new form of drag in order to trick Preston into thinking he's someone that he's not, in order to take back power and take revenge.
Exactly. Ping, can you talk a little bit about the relationship that does develop between Jules and Preston?
I mean, it begins as almost like an undercover kind of relationship where Jules pretends to be somebody he's not in order to gain Preston's trust, in order to infiltrate his life and therefore take revenge on Preston. But I think as Jules more and more successfully insinuates himself into Preston's life and managed to form this relationship with Preston, or this relationship that Preston sees as increasingly romantic, but which Jules sees as getting closer and closer to his revenge plan. As the two characters get closer and closer together, it feels like there is a flip in the power dynamic where before Preston had taken away his power by attacking him. Now Jules, in being able to trick him and infiltrate Preston's life, he feels more and more powerful. And as he gains in power and confidence, I think there is this dark and perverse and almost like subconscious attraction between the two of them. So what we are really proud of in the film is that every apparently romantic act that Jules performs is actually an act of revenge, or an act of getting closer to his revenge.
Sure.
And it really plays into the genre that we're trying to make, of an erotic revenge thriller.
And that becomes really complicated for him, doesn't it, in a way? Because as you often say, Ping, as he gets closer to Preston, Jules's revenge on Preston really is to try and strip away Preston's drag, in the same way that the drag is stripped from him. But then as he strips these layers of drag away from Preston, he obviously gets sort of closer to discovering a human being that sort of lies under a quite damaged, quite messed up, quite kind of piteous human being who lies underneath it all. And there is that complicates Jules's feelings, confuses Jules' feelings about revenge, about Preston, about what he's doing, about what part of their relationship is performed, and is there some part of that is in the performance kind of becoming real? It becomes very blurred and messy.
Exactly. Sam, you led perfectly into my next question. I was going to talk to you because there's this, you read the description, but there's so much more to the film than that. These characters are just so complex, and there's a dynamic going on that you may not initially see. But can you both talk a little bit about that aspect of this?
Yeah, the characters are always, like, for us, were the core of everything. Every choice we made about the film,
Sure.
comes from them. And I think it was really important to us that we weren't making a kind of moralistic black and white kind of binary movie about heroes and villains, because it doesn't feel, one, it's not interesting to us. It doesn't feel real. We're trying to explore something that felt real to us about our own relationship with our sexuality, masculinity as queer men walking around in the world, and the things that we're scared of and the things that preoccupy us. And so, we really wanted to put two human beings on screen and make them complex, explore the gray areas. Um, and Yeah, I think revenge movies are often quite black and white. The idea of revenge is a very moralistic idea. It's eye for an eye. It's the good guy gets, a one up on the bad guy. And I think it was interesting to us, or exciting to us, to kind of take that genre and in a way tell it quite unconventionally.
Exactly.
Another very interesting and deep issue that was important, that was fascinating to us in this story, is how the different characters perform gender, or perform identity. So there's a recognizable performance of gender in Jules's drag queen persona, but then of course he then perform a different kind of drag, almost like a drag king masculinity, in order to go undercover into Preston's life. Preston himself is performing a kind of hyper masculinity that he feels that he needs to perform in order to survive in his community, or among his friends. So I think this is a really interesting exploration of what kind of identities that we have to put up in order to just simply survive and thrive in the circumstances that we find ourselves in.
Exactly. Payne, I mean, the cast is so amazing here, but can you talk a little bit about George McKay and Nathan Stewart-Jarrett in these roles? Because they are both so amazing.
Yeah, they were really amazing people to work with, and amazing artists, and um when we were casting for these characters, um it took a long time to find Nathan, because Nathan was off um um shooting Culprits for the Disney Plus series, and he came into the casting process late. We had the brilliant Julie Harkin and Nathan Toth as casting directors, helping us cast the net wide. And because Nathan came so late in the process, we had almost started this despair that we could find the actor who could play this character. We started to think, did we write an impossible character? Because not only does Jules have to display the whole gamut of emotions, um, he also has to play like multiple simultaneous levels of identity, and to
Exactly.
shift within them, like sometimes we just within the same moment. So when Nathan came, and we the feeling that we got was relief, wasn't it, Sam? That finally here was the human being who could completely embody everything
Yeah.
that we wanted.
We're like, oh,
Um,
it's possible. There it is. He's here. Yeah.
yeah, thank God. With George, I think what a lot of people know him for is as just a really nice, sweet, warm guy. And it was really exciting for us that he's gonna play this brutal, dark, vulnerable, really screwed up character. Um, we saw his entire back catalog, and the one thing that was consistent across all the characters that he played, and he plays many different characters, he never plays the same thing twice, is that he throws himself into each character with 100% commitment. And that was something that we needed for Preston, who is like a slightly larger than life, almost overperforming his masculinity type character. So George was a really exciting choice for us.
Great. So, what are both of you working on next?
Top secret. Things are
Okay.
coming. Keep your eyes on this space. What's the phrase that I'm looking for? Um yeah, we've got the various things cooking up. Femme has been, it's really opened a lot of doors for us. So that's really exciting. So yeah.
Ping, do you want anything?
Sorry?
Do you want anything about future plans?
Oh yeah, same. A couple jobs lined up, and watch your space. Keep your phone notification on.
Yeah.
That's great. The film Femme.
All right. Thank you so much.
The film Femme plays at Out on Film Tuesday, March 19th at 7 p.m. at the Midtown Art Cinema and opens nationwide around the country. Sam and Ping, thank you so much for making this film, and thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you for having us.
Y'all have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.